Well, in our consumer alert, Ford is recalling more than 500,000 of its F-150 pickups in the U.S. because of a transmission problem. Ford says that there is a downshift issue which can cause the trucks to downshift to first gear unexpectedly, possibly causing a driver losing control of their vehicles and increasing the likelihood of a crash. The problem is caused by a lost signal between a transmission speed sensor and the computer that controls the powertrain. Now, letters will be sent to owners who will be able to take the truck to a dealer for updated software at no cost. Ford's F-Series pickups are the top selling vehicle in the U.S.